Is she to be buried in Christian burial when she has willfully seeked her own salvation?
I tell thee she is. Therefore make her grave straight. The crowner hath sat on her, and finds it Christian burial.
How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be se offendendo. It cannot be else. For here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act. And an act hath three branches. To act, to do, to perform. Argal, she drowned herself wittingly.
Nay, but hear you, good man Delver.
Give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. If the man go to this water and drown himself, it is, will he, Nilly? He goes. Mark you that. But if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argal, he that is not guilty of his own death shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Aye, marry is it. Crowner's quest law.
Will you have the truth on it? For if she had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out of Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest. And the more pity that great folk should have the countenance to drown or hang themselves, more than they're even Christians. Come, my spade. There is no ancient gentleman than gardeners, ditchers, or grave makers. They are Adam's profession.
Oh, was he a gentleman?
He was the first that ever bore arms.
Why? He had none.
What? Art a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says, Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
What is he that builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
A gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit, in good faith. The gallows does well, but how does it well? The gallows does well to those that do ill. Now, thou dost ill to say the gallows are built stronger than the church. Argal, the gallows may do well to thee. To it, again, come.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that and unyoke.
Marry, now I can tell.
To it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend its pace by beating. When you are asked the question next, say, a grave maker. His houses last till doomsday. Go, get thee in. Fetch me a stew of liquor. In youth would I did love. Methought it was very sweet to contract all the time for my behove. Oh, methought it was very a meet.
Has this fellow no feeling for his business? He sings at grave making.
Custom hath made it in a property of easiness.
'Tis even so. The hand of little employment hath the daintier sense.
But age with his stilling steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and shipped me into the land as if I'd never been such. Ooh, what is this? Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Dum, da-dum. Da-dum.
That skull. It had a tongue in it and could sing once.
Ba-dum.
How the knave jowls it to the ground, as if it were Cain's jawbone. That did the first murder. It might be the pate of a politician, which this ass o'erreaches. That might circumvent God, might it not?
Aye, it might.
or of a courtier, who could say, "Good morrow, sweet lord. How dost thou, good lord?" This could be my lord such-a-one, that praised my lord such-a-one's horse, when he meant to beg it, might it not?
Aye, my lord.
Why, e'en so, and now my lady Worms. Chaplison knocked about the matter with a sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution, and we had the trick to see it. Did these bones cost no more the breeding but to play at loggats with them? Mine ache to think on it.
A pickaxe and a spade, for such a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made, and for such a guest is meet. Oh, look, another one.
Here's another. Why, may not that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddities now, his quilities, his cases, his tenures and his tricks? Why does he suffer this rude knave now to knock him about sconce with a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action of battery? This fellow might be, in his time, a great buyer of land with his statutes, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is the fine of his fines and the recovery of his recoveries to have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too, than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of his land will hardly lie in this box, and will the inheritor have not more?
Not a jot more, my lord.
But is parchment not made of sheepskin?
Aye, my lord, and of calfskin too.
They are sheep and calves that seek out assurance in that. I'll speak to this fellow. Whose grave is this, sirrah?
Mine, sir. Oh, a pit of clay to be made, for a guest is meet.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on it, sir. Therefore it is not yours. For my part, I lie in it, yet it is not mine.
Thou dost lie in it, and to be in it, and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill gain from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman, then?
For none neither.
Who is to be buried in it?
One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, these 3 years I have taken a note of it. The age is grown so thick that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier he galls his kibe. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days of the year, I came to it that day that our late King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long has that been since?
Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. Why, it was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He, that is mad, and was sent to England.
Aye, Mary. Why was he sent into England?
Why? Because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there, or, if you do not, it's no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. There, the men are as crazy as he.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, in with losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I have been Saxon here, man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man lie in the earth, ere he rot?
Faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we may have many pocky courses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in, he will last you some 8 years or 9 years. A tanner will last you 9 years.
Why he more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with this trade that he will keep out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your wholesome dead body. Here's a skull now. This skull has lain in the earth 23 years, I believe.
Whose was it?
A wholesome mad fellow's it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
This?
And that.
Let me see it. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now, how abhorred my imagination it is! My court rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. Where be your gibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment, that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning. Quite chapfallen? Now get you to my lady's chambers, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick. To this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked o' this fashion in the earth?
E'en so.
And smelt so? Pah!
E'en so, my lord.
To what base uses we return, Horatio? Why, may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping a bunghole?
'Twere to consider too curiously to consider so.
No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither with modesty enough, and likelihood to lead it, as thus Alexander died. Alexander was buried. Alexander returneth to dust. The dust is earth, and of earth will make loam. And why of that loam, whereto he was converted, might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth which kept the world in awe should patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw.